Hello, everybody. Coming to you live on this, I think, day 12 of 101 Days Live. And I will have my friend Victoria Savage joining us. I met Victoria way back when I was first launching my art career. I ran into her at a networking meeting. I'm pretty sure it was probably the local impact zones networking meeting. Victoria and I have had several meetings through the years and really just sitting down and having coffee together and getting to know each other. And she was one of the people who reached out to me when I hit my lowest of lows. And she just helped me to understand the whole situation a little bit differently. So, as we try to get her in here, I'm going to pull up, you guys can read the blurb about her. But she is a channel and an energy practitioner, and she is able to connect. Yay!
Gotta love technology.
Yeah. We'll have to chat later about what you had to do to get that to work on your end, because that's happened 2 days in a row now with whatever that no answer from guest is a result of. So, I just very, very briefly introduced you. You will put it into words much more eloquently than I can. And rather than just read the whole thing through, since I put it in the description, I'll let you tell us more about yourself and what it is that you do.
Well, okay. As you know, my name's Victoria Savage. I've been an RN for 30 years, and I've been channeling angels, one specific angel, for about 60 years. Oh, that sounds really old to even say that. That I have done anything for 60 years, but I didn't know that I was channeling Archangel Uriel. I knew I was a conduit. It's what I called it, for wisdom. Because people would tell me often what I'd said them, had said to them, had spoken to them, had helped them, and I had no idea that they needed to hear anything. So once I understood that, then I was a conduit, and I stepped out of traditional nursing about 11 years ago for a number of reasons. I think we have a very effective healthcare system in many ways, but I saw more harm we were doing in the dependency on the healthcare system to keep us well, rather than to take charge of our own wellness and use them, when we had to. I also had learned 48 years ago, attending Oral Roberts University, about body, mind, spirit, that it is all interconnected and one is not independent of the other. And traditional healthcare generally deals with body. It's like I look at it from the top down view. I started understanding more about energy and the fact that I knew we are nothing but energy, but I started to learn how we can actually take charge of our health, our life, our relationships, all of that from the energetic aspect, and start releasing energies from our ancestors, because DNA does not just bring in muscle and bone. It brings in their trauma, the energies, that they experienced generations ago. And a lot of our phobias have to do with that, especially those that you come in and you go, I never nearly drowned, and yet I'm scared to death of water. It's like, well, ancestrally, someone in the past had some pretty bad experiences with water. And so I started helping people stand in their power. And that is truly what my passion is, what my path is. It's called soul empowerment. It is taking charge of your life, not control, because it's a very different energy. And I liken it to, I'm willing to row this boat as long as you're willing to lead it, because I believe we came in to learn certain things, and we're going to learn them. What our ability to affect is how that happens, how difficult it is, how easy it is. And that's where taking charge happens, and learning your power in the soul. And so that's mainly what I work with. I mean, I channel angels. I channel more than just Archangel Uriel now. And in fact, right before we came on, it was like I got very hot. And it's like, oh, okay, we've got some company here. And I often ask before I do my lives or when I work with people, speak through me, say to them what they need to hear, guide me to know where we need to go in this healing process to get the most work done in a session. So in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how, where, whatever direction you want to take this, but how did you um, get comfortable with being that conduit and allowing that to flow through you instead of sitting there going, what the heck are these thoughts? Like that feeling of that warmth. I've experienced it many times, and how do you know that that is something bigger than just your physical body doing something weird? How do you make that transition in your own head?
That's a good question. So as I got older, in fact, I was told at age 19 at Oral Roberts University, I said I started a spiritual quest at age 4. That's when I knew I began to channel. And crazy, crazy life, as we all have had at times. And so I was introduced to many different belief systems, then just 2 churches after age 9, then Oral Roberts University, all of my own volition. I needed that spiritual foundation. At 24, I had a visual experience and went, okay, I'm not doing church anymore. That's not what I need. And I walked away and just went, you know what, God, I want to be used by you however you can use me. I'm going to trust you're going to open those doors you want me to go through, and you're going to shut the ones you don't. And so for many years, I just thanked God. That was all, for what happened. Everything really unfolded after that in life. I met my husband just weeks after that. Well, I already knew him. We got together and had 2 children. Then I got my nursing degree. And through the years in nursing, I would just have this knowing that would settle in that I needed to say something. And I really started to own that. I would act on it then. It was like I'd get an urge first, like I don't know, and I'd sit there and finally I'd say whatever it was that I felt, and the response would be, oh, I needed to hear that. Like, okay. So I started to respond to that a little more. But it was in Reiki class that I really began to get the sensation. 2 weeks in a row, as I put my hands on this woman to practice Reiki, I would, it was not just hot, all of a sudden I would be soaked, be running with sweat. I mean, immediately running down my back. And so I went, because, the environment I was in, we were understanding spiritual power. I just went, all right, who is here? And Metatron came in. And so it's like, oh, and at that point I didn't know, or didn't, wasn't in the realm to go, well, what do you need to say here? It was just like, okay. And then next week, again, get on the table to practice, put my hands on her, soaked. And so I understood that. I was like, okay, this is how you come in. And then I asked, do you think we could do that a different way where, the notification could happen? I went through menopause 10 years, and it was like just as constant, hot flash and soak, but it was also very different. I could tell the difference. And then it did ease up. When Michael started coming through, it was a headache, and it wasn't excruciating, but I don't get headaches. So it was a definite something different that made me understand that. And then I took a channeling course, because it was like, okay, I need to expand this. Well, it was very simple course, which was you ask whoever is the most appropriate, the most loving, and the easiest for me to channel to come through. And then I would get in my head, which is where Creator plays with us. People, do the, I just made that up. It's like, well, there's not a lot of places Creator can come in and visit with us. I've never seen a burning bush. It's like, it really happened in our mind. And when you start trusting that, that's when the power really starts to grow, because you're trusting what you're able to do. And, most of us that are really in the light worker realm at this point, which are millions now, we're waking up, and that's who I wake up and help, really understand their power most often are the light workers. But we need to learn to trust what we can bring through. And once you do that, that's when your power really starts to expand.
Ah, that's great. I needed to hear that because I've had a few instances where I've heard someone speak very clearly and I turn to look and see who's there and there's no one there and then I get a little freaked out. So it's one of those things. How do you get past that freaked out phase? That would be a good thing for you to expand upon for our viewers.
I would say start acting on it, trusting that. I started to say, and I didn't really finish that thought. Many of us came in with very strong intuitive aspects. Um, Part of what my understanding and research has been through the years, um, the unwanted pregnancy is a great ground for coming in as an empath, because you come in alone in many respects. You're not this joyous gift that we're so grateful that many get to be. So you have to know how to navigate. So your gut instinct is strong, but we're not taught that. We don't socialize that in our children. We don't grow that. So we kind of grow up with these things that, I used to tell my girlfriends, I have a great asshole meter. Bring your boyfriend by, because I can tell you if he's a good guy, if he's not a good guy. And I didn't understand that that was me reading the energy. But, I knew about people pretty much before I knew about people. And so it is that beginning to work with your intuition. So I have another friend, you probably know Judith, Lady J. She hears her guidance, and I do not hear guidance. That is not my gift. That's clairaudience. My greatest gift is clairsentience and the claircognizance, which is the things come in and you just know. And so it is very much a muscle, the intuitive muscles that we have, that I have people, start playing with it, start really working it. And I really start with people by introducing them to their energy and the fact that they've got this field moving around them. And I'll do that with little energy rods, just so they can see that they're very still, they're holding these. And I always tell them there's very technical, highly expensive tools here, so be very delicate. They're a piece of hanger with a straw on it so that they don't touch the metal. And the rods move, the energy moves those rods. So I start with the basic, we all have this. So now you start actively working with it and playing with it so that you begin to trust that you can get insights. One of the tools I do with people is twofold, is to help pull denser energy from them. Fear is the lowest vibration. Love is the highest vibration, and they don't exist together. They're separate within us. And often people will come to me and they're very upset. They're down, they're heavy. And I will have them for a minute or two do this process, which is just shed pure love and joy on everything you lay your eyes on in this room or that comes into your mind, because everything's energy. It's not the what you're shedding it on, although it can be. It is the act of doing it. You're pulling the unconditional love available to all of us through the universe, through yourself, and you're sending it out into the world. And energy never disappears. It just keeps going. So you're blessing the world, but what happens is that heavier energy is pulled away from you as well. When they're done, it's like, I feel so much lighter. So I started using that tool just to manage my energy. And there are days when, for whatever reason, energy coming in from the cosmos or the collective that we feel, where I've had to use that tool. And we're on our way to Sun Valley. We're going to lunch. We're having a great time. 6 times on that trip, I had to use that pure love and joy to pull my energy vibration back up to where I was joyous again. And so just that tool and feeling that is a great introduction to the fact that we are this energetic being and we can intend. That is the second thing that I love teaching people, is the power of intention. And again, it's an energy. And when I intend for something to happen, it goes. So I then, encourage people to use that pure love and joy tool on everything that causes them worry or angst or whatever, because they have the power to shed love on it, and love transforms like nothing else. So it is the most powerful energy we can send out.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the power of intention because before we went live, I heard pay attention to your intention. And it was just one of those things that just popped in my head. And I was like, okay, well, that's a message for somebody today, just that it is time that we are all paying attention to what our intentions are behind everything that we're doing. That's even,
Yeah.
getting up out of bed in the morning. What is your intention beyond just that physical act for the day? Are you still doing your morning readings? I haven't been seeing them pop up. I think I need to fix my follow settings again.
I know Facebook changes so much. I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7:30 Mountain Time. I do general readings. I am going to transition to live YouTube um, for a lot of reasons. One is I have this YouTube channel, and it's called Accept Your Inner Wisdom. And I want people to go and use the videos, which are the live readings, as like oracle cards, where they have something they want information about, understanding about, and they scroll through until they feel led to stop, and they stop on that one. Well, recently, I mean, I've been thinking about breaking up with Facebook anyway for many reasons, but they've made it so I cannot save those videos to my camera and then upload them. So they're only on Facebook. And that's not productive for me helping people, in another way. So I'm going to be transitioning here in the next couple weeks to YouTube lives and have them available there.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's an easier platform. I'm not highly controversial, so I don't get censored too often. Sometimes I did about CBD when it was really new, because it was like, oh my gosh, you can't talk about that. And then I'd be banned for 7 days. And
Oh,
so
no.
now, oh, it's just crazy. Um, so yeah, but I am currently doing them, and we'll continue to do them 3 mornings a week, and I'll just announce it on my Facebook page and do it that way.
Okay. Good, good. Yeah, I've been following your YouTube channel, but it's your YouTube channel has been similar to mine, where we use it sometimes and then not so much other times.
Yeah, it's like all the social media. It's like,
Right.
I'm at an age where this is all just barely within my grasp. It's like
Yeah.
just that age where everything changes so quickly, and then I hate to own that, but that's the truth. It's like the verbiage. It's like, what does that even mean? I don't even know how to
Hmm.
navigate that. So it's a constant intention to go, no, I can understand this, I can utilize this, because that's how we're going to, impact the most people. And that really, my deepest desire is to be a positive impact to as many people in the world as I can be. That's the bottom line of what I want to do in life. How that happens is many different ways, but solar power, soul, and then
Yeah.
powered, is that's my newest program that I'm collaborating with a gal in Massachusetts who is very proficient in mindfulness. And it's like we bring in the 2 aspects, and our program is going to be for post-traumatic healing, because I mean, as a world right now, so much trauma for many different reasons and on many different levels that we're dealing with. And it really just kind of holds us in place. It stops us from moving forward, and we spin there. So we work with she digs in in the mindfulness and reflection, she's amazing what she brings forward. And then once we are like at that process, then I go after the energy with them. You know, let's dig down to find the base energy here that is the fuel for all of this, and then go after those energies. And we pull energy and then we replace it, and we never leave a void, because that's the thing. It's like we can direct what is taking place in our life. We've chosen before we came the learning opportunity we wanted, but how we learn it is where we get, you know, that's like, we're not a puppet. That's how we direct, is the learning that we get, and how it happens can be very difficult, and it usually is somewhat uncomfortable, but how uncomfortable is what we have say over.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought all of that up, because when I was reading your thing, I loved that solar powered. Um, but that piece of choice, so many people struggle with that. Can you talk about an instance where you had one of those difficult situations and had to make that choice, and how you were able to transition through going this direction or this direction? Like, how do you decide on which direction is the right direction for you? There's somebody who needs to hear that one too.
um, that's a very big topic, but you know, I mentioned that from 4 years old to 24, I was very involved in Christianity, and again, many different religions, because I lived in 17 houses before I was 9. So I went to church, I got to church however I could. So I saw different belief systems. What I eventually came to is what I couldn't reconcile in the church was this understanding of one and done. You get one lifetime, that's it, you know. Because I'd go, okay, I get this life, and those little babies come into horrific circumstances, you know, all, it's like that did not make sense. So I chose the understanding that fit with me, which was, we've been here before and we're going to come again, and we learn each time. So what formulated over the years was the understanding that our soul family, who we've been here before with many times, and who will come again, depending on where we're at in the process of our learning and whether or not we need to come back. We work out what we want to learn, the big themes we want to learn in this lifetime. Some of it's from karma, from past lifetimes. And again, we get the opportunity to heal generations through energy work now, the ancestral trauma we've brought in as well. And so then we agree to be certain roles for one another to help the learning process. Where our choice comes in is when we come into the world, we can choose when situations, one of the things I teach is we learn in the difficult. Unfortunately, we focus there. That's, you know, we get very much inward focused, and the opportunity to understand what we're gaining. And that's where the power comes in. Your power in your life is to go, okay, if I'm creating with every word, because nothing is, I mean, everything is energy. I'm creating with my thoughts, that subconscious. I call her the mean girl, because rarely is that subconscious state very kind. We need the awareness of what we're creating every moment. And so I, you know, I have the mantra, I'm open, I'm willing, I'm ready, guide me. Because again, I'm willing to row this boat, but I don't want to be in control, because I don't have that 30,000 foot view. I have this very linear view. So I'm willing to receive the awareness of what my next best step is. So when things are difficult, I had a horrendous experience in Florida this summer. Almost the worst experience of my life, barring maybe my sister's death. Um, and I sat through that going, I do not know what I get from this, God. I'm open, willing, and ready to receive. And eventually I got the understanding that some of this would be years in the unfolding of what I learned. But when you own that you brought things to you for a learning process, and you go, all right, show me what I needed from this, you're owning it. You're not a victim. You are then the architect, and you go, okay, I'm willing to receive the understanding I need here to get on. And I laughingly tell people my phone ring used to be, all I want to do is have some fun, because the truth is I want out of that difficult as quickly as possible. So give me what I wanted to learn here, and or give me the awareness of what I wanted to learn here. Then I get to move on. And that ownership is an amazing place to be, because when you begin to own it, doesn't mean you don't go through the difficult. It means you accept it, you choose to learn from it, and you get on to creating more inspiration, more fun, more joy, and more of what you came to do opens up before you. And that's where that contentment lies, is when you're doing your work. Like I could do what we're doing right now for days easily, and just never be tired. You know, I led some retreats that were intense work for me, and got done on the other side. It was like I was more energized when I came out of that, and going, this, yes, this is what I can do, because it's a very amazing way to work with people on a very intimate level, is the retreat. So I hope that answered the question, you know, with the power of choice and choosing what we're bringing in front of us, and then going, okay, I have say here. And we're not that, you know, again, they're not going to move us around the chessboard. When we're open, willing, and ready, they're going to tap us on the shoulder and go, oh, so that you're aware of the possibilities coming. Otherwise, they come, but they would just pass you by, because you're not in that state of receptivity. And it's the same with learning. Everybody can offer you a learning opportunity if you're ready to learn from them. My simplest friends have given me the greatest nuggets of wisdom along the road, and they don't think they're very bright. And it's like, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you've done for me here and along this path. So I hope that answered that.
Yes, yes. No, I was hoping I knew you would be guided in the direction it needed to be taken there. So we are coming to the end of our half an hour together. Is there anything else you want to leave for our viewers?
Yes, quickly, you know, those of us who are in this realm understand that all this dissension, all this division that's in the world, it's not just our country. You know, this is a big thing, and we tend, as a personhood, tend to look at it as a big bad thing, and it is not. It is, you know, the ascension into 5D for our world has already happened. We are now adjusting to that. The darkness that has been in control for a very long time on our planet is screaming as it leaves. The more of us awaken to our intuitive aspects, our power, the greater our light shines. One candle will light a whole room. So the more of us waking up to the power we have to be light, to be a positive influence, the darkness is screaming. And that's what all this dissension and anger and fear is about. Hold on to the fact that we are ascending. Things are coming to light, and the energy has already shifted. That's a lot of what the physical difficulty is for many of us right now, is shifting our physical into that new higher energy. And so just know that, spread pure love and joy, shed it as often as possible, because it's all about you. You manage your energy, you affect everyone around you, because we share energy. We cannot change that, but what we can change is the type of energy we share.
Ah, thank you so much. It's such a blessing to have you here. I always love chatting with you and miss having coffee with you. I'll have to make sure that I have my follow settings correct so I can catch you again live. But thank you so much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us.
The one thing said through the whole thing is I'm known as the Wisdom Guide Oracle, and that's my webpage. So it's like all of that. It's like, oh yeah, there's that, the marketing piece. So
I know there's so many more. Like, we probably should do this again one of these days just to get the rest of it, because there's so much more that we could talk about more with the unwanted pregnancy piece, because that has touched my life in multiple ways. So yeah, there's a lot. So perhaps you guys will be seeing Victoria again with me. I have 101 days of going live. So thank you again, friend, and we'll bid you
thank
adieu
you.
for now. Thank you. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Take
Thanks for
care.
joining.
Bye-bye.